What's going on? It's Adam here making this video just about the topic here I'm going to be discussing is about addiction and coping mechanisms. And that's something that I've struggled with ever since I was probably about 14 years old at the end of grade 8 was the first time that I ever got high on the old marijuana. And basically since then I've been smoking marijuana for all the way up until now. I'm 38 years old now. Um, there was a period when I reached basically, I guess basically when I got to the age of about 24, maybe 23, maybe 24. I gave up smoking weed. I stopped. At that time, I was also smoking cigarettes. I was probably drinking heavily at that time too. And, at that time, I wanted to be a professional skateboarder, but of course, I had no idea what that would actually entail to accomplish a goal like that. I basically just thought if I was just really, really good at skateboarding, that that's all that it would take. But I didn't realize there was many other factors involved, such as business and networking, and maybe traveling, having better processes and routines in being able to accomplish that goal, which I later learned in life. Once I hit 25, once I discovered the game, once I discovered that you could go out and you could improve yourself, self development, improve with women, improve my dating life, improve all aspects of my life, confidence, self esteem, uh, basically no longer identifying as a victim, even though I didn't identify as a victim. I definitely had victim mentalities that I wasn't even aware of. And as I started to educate myself more in all these different areas, such as psychology and just the different studies that are out there on how to cultivate skills and what are the factors involved there that basically translate into every other discipline that you're going to look to build a skill set in. There's various principles that are involved that are going to be involved in anything that you do. And so basically by the end of my skate career, I knew that that was the most important thing to me, and this is going to uh, basically translate into how I think that you can stop with your addictions or stop with different coping mechanisms, or why you're actually doing those things, and then figuring out other ways to motivate yourself so that you're not uh, taking or partaking in different habits that maybe are antithetical to your success. I don't even know if I think that's the right word. I don't know if I've ever used that in a sentence before. But so basically, habits and coping mechanisms that aren't really helping you to get to the goals that you want to achieve. Now, one way that I quit smoking cigarettes at that time, which I think from the age of like 17 was when I started smoking cigarettes. So I was smoking all the way up until I was like 23, 24. Basically, me being a professional skateboarder, wanting to be the best that I could be at skateboarding, I realized that smoking was not helping me in achieving that goal. So then my my drive, my motivation, my passion to be the best skateboarder that I could be at that time, that was more important to me than smoking cigarettes. So then that's how I stopped smoking cigarettes. But until I came up with that motivation, I had tried smoking cigarettes many times where I would buy a pack and then I would throw out an entire pack. I would start smoking again. Another thing that helped me too, though, when I did finally quit was to, well, I had come to the understanding that if I was to stay at home maybe for a certain amount of days, or if I didn't go out, that the physical addiction would subside. So then I just kind of didn't go anywhere. I didn't hang out with any of my friends for maybe like up to upwards of a week. And until the physical addiction subsided, and then as well as having that motivation to want to be the best skater I could be. That's how I ended up kicking that habit. Now, later, when I got to be 25, I ended up discovering the book The Game by Neil Strauss, and then started realizing that you could actually improve with women. And I stopped skateboarding. Then at 25, I went onto a new journey, a self-development journey, a journey where I was of self-discovery, educating myself, learning about a whole bunch of different subjects. Just that was important to me to start building up my social skills, and managing my dating life and my social life, and working at that more so. So then, um, the thing is, though, so for 3 years after I was 25, I basically stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped drinking coffee. I stopped basically a lot of these coping mechanisms. But then what I learned later in life too is that addiction isn't just drinking alcohol. Like, I grew up with a mom that was a recovering alcoholic, and I would go to AA meetings, and to some degree I think that I thought that maybe drinking alcohol or doing drugs, that's what you get addicted to. But then what I later learned in life is that no, you can be addicted to emotions, you can be addicted to negativity, you can be addicted to basically different kinds of states of mind that that are make you feel comfortable. So then you're addicted to failure, you're addicted to lack, you're addicted to want, you're addicted to need, because maybe that's what you grew up with. You grew up with these different emotions, and maybe they're not optimal, maybe they're not actually emotions or frames of mind that you might enjoy or that feel good, but because they're comfortable, because you grew up with those states of mind, when you end up reaching other states of mind, maybe positive states of mind, or maybe when life starts to be going well for you, then you sabotage yourself. You have success barriers, and that's when you'll end up sabotaging yourself and going back into the states of mind that maybe you're used to, even though maybe they're not actually positive. They're not actually the best kinds of ways of being and living. And so, you can be addicted to processed foods. You can be addicted to processed sugar. You can be addicted to food. You can be addicted to shopping. You can be addicted to many things. So then, as of recently, what I came to, what became a motivation for me to finally kick a lot of these coping mechanisms for myself. And this is the thing, is that As a Man Thinketh, there's a book, As a Man Thinketh. And in that book, it says that when you are on this journey of trying to push yourself, trying to challenge yourself, trying to reach higher heights than you've ever reached, you're going to fail. And this is sort of like a cleansing process. So if you don't give up and you just keep trying, eventually maybe you can reach supreme self-discipline, self-control, self-reliance, self-actualization. And you just have to keep trying, and you have to know that you're going to fail. You're going to fall back. And this is all a part of the process. Especially if you've been doing something for years and years and years, these habits that you've built for yourself, it's not going to be easy to cultivate new habits, right? So you have to find a motivation for yourself. And maybe game is a motivation for you to live a more clean lifestyle, to live a more optimal lifestyle, to work on your health, to work on your finances. Maybe this is the thing that motivates you, and run with it if that's the case. Now, for me, I basically, life is going to teach you. You're going to suffer natural consequences to your actions. And maybe we need to go through these things, because if you don't basically learn through experience, you don't really maybe internalize these different lessons that somebody maybe can convey to you in a video until you've experienced it yourself. And for me, something that I think has motivated me to finally have this drive is, well, having a clear vision of what you want, and then realizing that what these coping mechanisms are for you, and then learning or wanting to develop self-reliance, no longer looking to external sources to cope with the emotions that maybe are hard to deal with, or maybe you're neglecting certain responsibilities in your life, and to not have to think about those things, or to not have to feel certain negative emotions, maybe that ultimately no emotion is negative because they're there to serve you, they're there to help you, but maybe you don't want to feel them. So then what do? You go and you eat the junk food. You go and you do something that maybe spikes your dopamine, whether it's smoking weed, watching porn. It can be watching TV, compulsively looking at your phone, distracting yourself. And there are some tough realities that everyone's going to face, whether you want to ignore them or not. Reality, whether you pay attention, whether you accept reality or not, you can't ignore the consequences. The consequences are going to happen whether you want to acknowledge them or not. So then maybe when you go through enough pain, when you go through enough suffering, when you finally hit your limits, when you raise your standards, or maybe you want to be really good at game, maybe you want to have the best experiences or the most experiences you can have in this arena, and then you might finally decide, you know what? With supreme discipline, with supreme self-control, self-reliance, validating yourself, if you are consistent in your actions, that is going to be the hardest thing that one can master. You may go your whole life and never master it, but just imagine if you just could master that, mastering yourself, basically. That's going to put you ahead of the majority of people in life, because that is one of the hardest things that you can ever do. And so even going out, having sex, that can be a coping mechanism. So why are you doing these things? Figure out what you want. Figure out what's important to you. And maybe you start to value the characteristics that you would like to cultivate, the attributes you'd like to cultivate. And this is another thing, is that realize too, success can be defined however you want to define it. And for me, the internal qualities, attributes, characteristics, self-reliance, self-trust, validating yourself, self-control, that can be something that you decide in an instant. You can just decide right now. You can choose to be conscious of your actions, to be deliberate in your choices, and realizing too that you have the ability to choose your response, to choose the actions that you take. No matter what's happening externally, you can choose the response to that external stimulus. You always have control over your actions, over your behaviors. You are accountable for your life. You take responsibility for where you're at in life. And this is an empowering thing, and that in itself is success. That is success. Once you can do that, then it's just about being consistent and having the privilege of living long enough to take the right actions until you get the desired result. If you are taking the right actions that are likely to get you the result, and you are gifted the time needed to build those skills or to achieve that end result, then you will eventually get there if you are taking the right actions. And so you are already a success. Once you master yourself, once you come to that realization, and then you make a decision in an instant to say, I'm no longer going to do this thing, or I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to replace these habits now. I'm going to stop doing this thing. I'm no longer going to use external sources to cope with life. I'm going to learn to derive the ability to cope with life from within. Everything can be cultivated from within. That is true strength. And then you can accomplish anything, given you are allotted the time necessary to invest into cultivating whatever result it is that you're looking to cultivate. So you, right then and there, you're already a success. How do you define success? Now, internal success, that is something that you can achieve right now. You can achieve that right now. It's a choice. It's a choice in how you carry yourself. It's a choice in how you, basically, it's a choice in how you choose to behave, your response to the world, what you choose to eat, what you choose to feed your mind, the people that you choose to have around you. That can be something that you can achieve right now. You are already successful at that point. It's internal success, and the internal success precedes the external success. You can have material success, but maybe you are not doing very well internally. You can have internal success, but maybe externally it doesn't really look like you've achieved much. But given you have the requisite amount of time to invest, eventually the material success will come when you master your internal realm, your internal temple, the internal world in which you live. The material success will come, whatever that is that you would like to achieve. And that's for you to decide. So making this video to say that I struggled and am struggling and have struggled with addiction, with various coping mechanisms. I'm 38 years old, and it's better that you figure this out now than tomorrow or the next day or a year down the road or another year down the road. You don't compare yourself to anybody else. The person that maybe figured this out at a younger age, there's no guarantees that they're going to live to be your age. So it doesn't matter when you figure this out. You can be a success now. And the material world, the material results, that will come eventually. But that's also kind of a reality of this world, is that you can't skip the process. It takes time to build skills. It takes time to build something. You don't just get to build those things overnight. The debt that maybe I've accrued or the consequences of my actions are because of the small decisions that I made on a daily basis, the consistent actions that I made on a daily basis. Just the same, the consequences of your actions, maybe in the positive sense, that's going to take time as well. But then that's why you want to live your life as if it's your last. You live your life and you create processes and habits and routines so that you enjoy every single day. You enjoy every single moment. And that also means that maybe that means you're challenging yourself. Maybe that means that you're working hard and it's difficult, because enjoyment isn't just about pleasure. Enjoyment is actually maybe pain, suffering, going to the gym, feeling those muscles burn, to get the delayed gratification of then seeing your body transform. But then guess what? That's not guaranteed. The material success, the material results are not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is the internal success, the internal results. You can achieve that today, right now. And it just takes a decision to no longer rely on external sources, but instead to rely on internal factors, cultivating internal strength within yourself and the decisions that you make on a regular basis. But once you've done that, the material world will come with time. But again, that isn't guaranteed. So don't judge someone. Don't judge a book by its cover. You might see somebody that's overweight and they're running down the street, and you might think, oh, look at that silly person. Look at them trying to improve their life. Look at them trying to improve their life. What a loser. But that person maybe has mastered their internals more so than you or somebody else, maybe even more so than a guy that's fit, because internally that person's maybe happy or they've already reached success within, and they're going to reach that material success. They're going to reach their goals eventually. It just takes consistency. It just takes the right actions, and they can get there like anybody else, just the same as you, just the same as me, just the same as anybody. But you got to want that for yourself. You got to find that intrinsic motivation. Anyways, my name's Adam. Hit me up at datingdestruction@gmail.com if you're looking for any kind of mentorship or if you'd like to know more about my services. I also offer boot camps where I take you out into the field and we go socialize with people in real life, women, working on your dating life, working on your social life. It's very fun going out to bars, going out to clubs, going out in the day. It's a great time. I'm somebody that's going to hold you accountable. I'm going to push you. I've done that for myself. I've been doing this for over 13 years now. By no means am I perfect. By no means have I reached the pinnacle. There is no pinnacle. But just like anything else, if you get a coach, that is going to help you sometimes get over plateaus, learn things quicker, having someone to see things that maybe you can't see when you're in it, so giving you that external feedback. So hit me up, datingdestruction@gmail.com. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Leave a comment, ask me anything. Maybe I'll make a video about it, or I will answer you in the comments. And until next time, peace out, my friends.